MLB Cast, recording here on the Better Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm social channels. James, we got a little day baseball on Thursday covering the DraftKings 6-game slate, kicking off at 12:20. We have a little NFL draft happening later on today. So we got day baseball here on the slate.
Yeah, a lot going on Thursday. We got day baseball for this podcast. The live stream coming in at 5 Eastern is going to cover the PM slate, 5-gamer there. So 11 baseball games to cover throughout the day, plus the NFL draft, plus everything in between, right?
Right.
I mean, what else is going on in sports? I mean, there's a lot. So, but we are covering this main slate here at 12:20, John. 12:20. So Howard Bender and company might not even be awake on the West Coast by the time first pitch.
I'll tell you what. I went to Vegas this past weekend. It is glorious waking up and having sports start at like 10 a.m. It's the
right.
best.
I can imagine.
West Coast, 100%.
Right. Shout out to them. You must be nice life you got. You get to watch 9 o'clock games for us here on the East Coast at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Your night wraps up at 10. You're like, oh, great night of sports. Just go to bed at a normal time. It's true. But this slate, we don't have to worry about waking up or staying up late, John, because it starts at 12:20 Eastern for us. Elite pitching on the slate, at least a couple names in Shohei Ohtani, Julio Urias. Even though Urias has a pretty tough matchup against those pesky Pirates. Speaking of those pesky Pirates, plus 145 at home against Urias. Kyle Wright checks in minus 195 in the Braves. Shohei Ohtani, biggest favorite on the board, minus 295 going up against JP Steers and the Oakland Athletics. Those are the only three notable spreads, notable money lines we have. Let's look at totals here, John. Let's see. Nothing. 8.5. That's every single total we have, including Cubs, San Diego. It's going to be cold again in Wrigley, so not a lot of runs because Wesneski Lugo suggests lots of runs. No, not so fast.
Yeah. Let's go into pitching here. Ohtani versus Oakland. He is $11,000. You would expect to be the highest rostered pitcher on the slate.
Yep.
I don't think that's a stretch to mention.
Hot take. Nope.
Coming off of a 7 shutout inning performance, 11 strikeouts against Kansas City. Obviously had that short outing against Boston because of the rain. Before that, 7 innings, 1 hit, 5 strikeouts against Washington. Before that, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned against Seattle. 6 shutout innings the opening night here, 10 Ks against Oakland. You get the point. The man has been absolutely dominant on the mound this season. He's allowed 2 total earned runs over 14 innings, 21 strikeouts. He's the reason why I took him first in the FSGA bet. And if not first, in the first round, pick 12 there. Guy has been ridiculous. He's going to be ridiculous. Just click the button now. You know, we don't want it at the end of the day. He's the guy. If you wanted to go Urias, sure. But to your point here, against left-handed pitching, Pittsburgh, only a 20% strikeout rate, a 12% walk rate against left-handed pitching this year, 355 WOBA, 159 ISO there. A 240 average is whatever, but 350 on base percentage. I mean, we know what they do against left-handed pitching. Rodolfo Castro, big power numbers there against left-handed pitching. So you may see Julio Urias and think like this is a spot for him. Not so fast, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, and even if you're not using Julio Urias or stacking against him because he is a very good pitcher, I know he's coming off a bad start against the Cubs, but that was a win game. So factor that into it's hard to stack against him. You don't have to stack against him, but sometimes we just don't have to use pitchers and stack. The situation can just be avoided, or we use one-offs like Rodolfo Castro. Because you're right, everything. Dude, the Pirates are 6th in OPS. And again, we shouldn't be surprised because they're leading the NL Central. They've been a good team. but they're 6th in OPS against right-hand or lefties. This is crazy. So yeah, I mean, you can get to Urias, but I kind of agree. You don't need to. I think there's other spots that are appealing. Now, I will say, John, after Urias, it is pretty doom and gloom when Mitch Keller is 9,200 and the third price pitcher on the slate.
Mitch
And
Keller's been good.
I understand that Mitch Keller's been good. I'm just stating that is when you know that only a couple teams' rotations have flipped.
Yeah. Right. I mean, Logan Webb is, I guess, by considered the top starter for San Francisco. He's got St. Louis 86. Seth Lugo, $8,300. Like he's been good. He's been pretty decent for the Padres here.
Yep.
Yeah, Kirby in the mid tier. Matt Strahm had 11 Ks the other day.
He sure did.
I don't know if that happens against Seattle here, but he's $7,200. I think Kyle Wright is really the guy I would take a peek at. I know he's been bad. I get it. But it's Miami, and they're not very good. So I love that 95 pitches in back-to-back starts here for Kyle Wright. So I'd be willing to throw the dart there, spend up for Ohtani, spend down for Kyle Wright in the matchup against Miami, and kind of just move on.
Yeah, and Kyle Wright, by the way, last year, John, 21-5.
Right.
21 wins, 5 losses in 30 starts. And obviously wins and losses are not everything.
Correct.
How about a 3.19 ERA? Is that good?
It's not bad.
How about a 3.30 xFIP? Right in line with his 3.19 ERA. How about 8.68 Ks per 9? Almost strikeout per 9 innings, 24% K rate. Is that good?
Yep.
Pretty good. That was actually 7% higher than any other season he's had in professional baseball. So, maybe a little bit of an anomaly. We need to get the walks in check for Kyle Wright. We need to get the home runs in check.
Yep.
295 BABIP is still kind of.
He's definitely not getting unlucky.
Yeah.
But the walks hurt. 8
hurt.
walks in three starts. That's certainly going to do you in. Drive up the pitch count there. Love the ground ball rate.
62%. That's a big boy ground ball.
Really good ground ball rate. So, I think that there is a path here for him to kind of get going against Miami, right? He opened the season against Cincinnati, was on a limit there, went into Kansas City, pitched okay, right? Not kill you, 16 fantasy points. Didn't even get the win in that game. If he comes out there tomorrow against Miami, gives you 5 2/3, 2 earned, 6 strikeouts, and gets a win, that's 20 fantasy points, right?
You're very happy.
So the bar is set fairly low for Kyle Wright at $6,600. He just can't get blown up like he did against Houston, where he gave up the 3 runs, gave up the 7 hits, and had no strikeouts. So I think we talk about it, Miami generally will bump up your strikeout floor. So if he goes out there and gives us 5 strikeouts and gives you that type of production, that give us the KC line with a W,
right?
20 fantasy points at $6,600. So I think that's where I am likely going on this slate. But I could get the Seth Lugo, probably just given the way his current form is. Strahm, potential strikeouts, but there is guys in Seattle that hit lefty. So I don't know.
Kyle Wright is the clear-cut spend down.
Feels like, it feels like it.
Clear-cut spend down. Second biggest favorite on the board, almost minus 200. We've seen the string of outings against Miami pitching all week. This is the 4th meeting in a row, right? We've seen what Braves have done to them this week. So yeah, I think he is the clear-cut spend down. I would have interest in Kirby coming off 3 really good starts in a row against, at least one very good offense in St. Louis. I think the same could be said for Philly at times where they look good, they don't look good. I like Kirby 8,100. We have to remember too about Kyle Wright, 9K pitcher all last year. I mean, he was a guaranteed win and a strikeout per inning, whatever. Matt Strahm, good for tournaments, I think. Seattle putting up a crooked number on Wednesday, but Strahm does have strikeout appeal. What is Seattle looking like against lefties this year? Oh, they're dreadful against lefties, huh? 26th in OPS against left-handed pitching, 26.5% K rate.
Yeah, Rodriguez is off to a little bit of a slow start. He did homer tonight. Suarez, we know, is just really power. France hasn't had a lot of power this year. Those are guys that last year hit lefties really well.
Right.
Suarez
crushed left. Teoscar crushed lefties. Like scary like proposition.
Kelenic is homered off lefties. He got 2 of his home runs off lefties. So.
True. That'll be interesting to see where they hit him with a lefty coming on the mound. It is just worth noting, like, that is a big strikeout rate for a guy who has now accrued 6, and 11 strikeouts in his last 3 outings in Strom. Yep. So, like, if you're playing the strikeout game, I can see getting to him. Unfortunately, like, it's like you're basically like, okay, do I want to play Matt Strom over Kyle Wright? Probably not. Right. That's where your decision. The only reason you probably would is just to be, when you look at Kyle Wright's ownership and it's like 60% projected, you're like, maybe I will, if I'm playing multiple lineups, play Strom in a couple.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree with you there. Let's go on over to the catcher position. Work for you?
I mean, I'd rather just skip it, but yeah.
All right. Sean Murphy gets a lefty in Bryce Garnett here. He's Garrett. He's $5,200. Wilson Contreras against Logan Webb here at 45.
No one else is healthy at catcher, so we have to go.
Hurt. Yeah. Maybe Theis, you mentioned, against lefty Sears at 2,300 if he's in the lineup.
He won't be in the lineup. It'll be Wallach.
Yeah, Wallach. That's who we wanted there.
Yeah, Wallach is fine. He's homered in like 2 of his last 3 starts. So
Wallach at 3,400 against Sears.
Yep. Probably
Tom Murphy starts against Strom, but I mean,
dude, he's been
very bad.
I would maybe consider Jason DeLay if he was in the starting lineup for Pittsburgh. He's hitting 300 this year. And it's not that I I don't think we're going to be stacking Pittsburgh, but I do think, the numbers are there. They've hit lefties well. DeLay is a punt, 3,100. I mean, obviously, but like $300 more, I'd rather just get to Wallach. Is anyone is there any catcher that is a must play? It feels like the answer is no.
I mean, I think Murphy is probably where I would go.
Oh, Blake Sable's here too, John.
Sure. Do you think that he starts, or do you think Bart starts? Bart's not out. He's just.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Mikolas on the mound, it's going to be the lefty. Sable hit the walk-off home run on Tuesday as well. He has some pop. I hope Sable's in the lineup because he hits for power.
Okay.
I like him. I would suspect he cracks the lineup. He also could play the outfield. So would it shock me to see them both in the lineup? No.
Okay, that's fine. He's 3K. On over at first base, again you got Goldie, Olsen, Freeman, Keller. France. I got Strom here is your top group. You probably want Freeman as much as Keller's been pretty good there. I mean, Olsen versus lefty has been fine. He's 6K. Can't spend up for every Atlanta bat. So
yeah, no.
And you're going to want to play Albies and probably Acuna here. So maybe spending up at first isn't the spot.
It doesn't feel like it. No.
Yeah, Brandon Drury against Sears.
Yeah, I think. I mean, what happened the last time we saw Brandon Drury against a lefty, dude? He went
double
nuclear.
Dong.
Yeah, double dong, broke the slate. And he's coming alive. I mean, the game following the double dong, he goes 2 for 4 with a triple and 2 ribbies. So, again, it's been a long career of Brandon Drury not living up to the expectations. But what is the one thing we know about Brandon Drury, John?
Hits lefties.
So, yeah.
Did not disappoint. I'm just going to early click that button. We'll see what else we got going on down here.
Might as well just go to the next position because
Matt Carpenter's got a couple bombs over the last 10 days.
Yeah, and he is an incredibly streaky hitter. incredibly streaker. And Wesneski
still rocking a great stash.
Still, yeah. I'm happy for him that he kept the stash, like, because I can't picture him without the stash.
Right.
Did he have full beard in St. Louis? It was full beard, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But you go to the Yankees, you got to clean up a little bit, and
I mean, even as a Yankees fan, I don't like that.
That Colorado series woke up Carlos Santana, by the way. We always talk against lefties. The average side of Carlos Santana comes down much better overall hitter from the right side of the plate. You could throw him into the conversation there as
John,
well.
just to pivot back to Carpenter and why I do think he's pretty viable, and I'll even throw Cronenworth in there since Cronenworth is only first base eligible now for one reason or another.
Sure.
So lefties against Wesneski, not a big sample, obviously. Hitting 400, 471 OBP, 767 slug, 520 WOBA. Have already belted 3 home runs, 4.26 home runs per 9 inning. He has a 14% K rate against lefties, 980 FIP against lefties, 46% hard hit rate against lefties.
So we're playing Juan Soto.
I'm hoping that Fernando Tatis during his suspension learned how to hit lefty. Is what I'm also saying. Like, I wish they had more lefties instead of playing like Soto, Grisham, Cronenworth. Like but like I'll throw Cronenworth and Carpenter in there both because
we can play Drury at second. So
we can play Drury at second, right? So
Cronenworth or Carpenter first.
Probably Carpenter, because I feel like even though Wesneski is good against righties, we might look at some high-priced San Diego outfielders.
Okay, yeah, that's totally fine by me. Let's move on over to.
The only problem is now we have Albies to deal with at second as well, which we're gonna have a decision on our hands between Albies and Drury probably.
Well, I'm trying to see. So they have projected lineup for tomorrow. Cronenworth hitting 5th, Carpenter hitting 6th. So.
Yeah, it's both good spots in the lineup. Carpenter obviously saves you more money, right?
As you mentioned, second base, Albies is $4,800 here. Estrada versus righties, 54. We talked about the Giants versus righties. He's got Mikolas here. Let's see. Bryson Stott's 4K. Drury's 35, as we mentioned. That's Rengifo. Does he still play enough? Is he going to the outfield probably?
He's gonna play. He's gonna be in the lineup. He's gonna hit.
He hasn't been that great this year, though.
He hasn't, but he hits lefties. We talked about, but we said the same thing about Drury, and then Drury broke out. Like, the data suggests Rengifo hits lefties, which probably over time will average out better for us.
All right, so I think what we do then is Drury at first.
I mean, we don't have to even stack San Diego. We could just play Soto if we.
I agree. Drury at first. I like Albies at second. I think that he is on fire.
Yep.
5 home runs the last 10 games.
Yep.
So
including a double dong the other day.
Yeah. Third base position. We know where the top guys are. Riley, Arenado, Hayes versus a lefty, Wisdom versus Lugo. Machado's down to $4,500. Let's see here. Was there a value guy we like? Hiri, if he's in the lineup versus the lefty, $2,200. It's been a long time,
It's been
go back to Adrianza.
It's been a long time. Yeah, I mean, if he's in the lineup, he's okay.
He's a pump play. Really not a lot of value on this, so it looks like you're basically spending up at third base here.
Yeah, I think we've kind of seen the Rendon ownership probably higher than you and I want. Truthfully, like, he was popular on Wednesday. He was popular because there was a lefty on Tuesday. He was popular on Monday because there was a lefty, or Mason Miller was pitching. Or I have that flip. There was a lefty Monday, then a righty Tuesday, but it was Miller at a weak position. So I think Riley is the clear spend up. I like Braxton Garrett, but he struggled against righties this year.
Sure.
and the Braves are, they crush lefties. I think we see a lot of people go to Machado 45, Eugenio against lefty, and Strom
Suarez
43.
this year, 313, 914 OPS, 438 slug against left-handed pitching. So.
Yeah, mashes lefties. So I could see like the case to getting to him there. And then I think we actually see relatively popular Rendon because he's been a little like slowly but surely he's been more productive offensively lately.
Sure. Going over to the shortstop position here. We know at the top, Trey Turner, Estrada, a shortstop eligible Mookie Betts alert out here at 50.
Good. Should be. He's getting time there.
I know, but he was second base eligible for the Wednesday.
That's true. That is true.
Shortstop eligible Mookie Betts at 53, Xander's at 51. I guess the real question is like, do we go Rodolfo? Do we go Rodolfo versus Urias? He's $3,700. Hasn't really let us down.
No.
In these spots. So,
I mean, it just depends on. Yeah, I guess it just depends on the position. Like, there's obviously merit to getting to Trey Turner, but like 62,
we forgot about Bush, by the way. He's 2K first base, second base.
Sure. Hitting in the middle of their lineup. I think he'll probably hit a little lower, considering the Dodgers won't be batting Jason Hayward third probably ever again.
Right.
That has not panned out all too well for them thus far.
But if you needed a salary saver, he's first base, second base eligibility.
Yeah. So. Yep. I agree. I like that call, John.
It just kills us again. It's like, what do you do? I guess Drury ends up just being the odd man out as much as we like him.
Well, I mean, I get it's going to depend because, I'm looking at your lineup. I don't think we need to get to Sean Murphy 52, and we're going to get to an outfield position that never has a shortage of value. So we'll see. Like, Murphy's fine for now. I don't know. I don't think we should. We know what Drury is against lefties.
Sure.
And he just showed it. Just like we mentioned, Rodolfo hadn't let us down. Like, Drury definitely didn't let us down. I woke up to a message from you said, love Drury.
Love Drury. Still love Drury.
after the second dong. So like I think we hold strong.
Okay.
Maybe we come back to short. I think you mentioned Birdie. Obviously we're using Kyle Wright in the line. Mm-hmm. So but Birdie is a guy who steals a lot of bases. That's in the cards. Where is Nato at? Nato against the lefty. He's been better for the Angels lately. He went over on Tuesday, but had 2 multi-hit games prior to that. Like 2,700 against a lefty that's struggling this year. So I think there's other options.
I mean, if you like Nato, I don't mind it because it does connect with our guy here. So a little bit.
A little bit.
So that would give us $3,900 for 3 outfielders. There's really not as much value as we're used to per se on this slate. Hayward is $2,300 against Keller. Cave is 24. Pilar is 24. Hilliard gets the lefty, so probably not in the lineup there. There's not a
So I like Grissom 35. I know he's been kind of bad, but he has power. Probably leads off. Actually, no, that lead Tatis off. The Giants probably lead off Lamonte Wade, right? Righty on the mound. He's probably leading off. If you wanted to go there, as soon as a corpse can't play him. Yeah, I guess there is. I guess you're right.
It does give. I mean, we have if we wanted Soto.
I feel like when you go back to the top of the position, 5,000 Soto is probably but the Angels, man.
You go Yaz at 37 against Miller this year.
Yeah, the Angels appeal like Renfroe 5,200 against a lefty.
Yeah.
Oh God.
We can get there if we don't play Soto.
I feel like Renfroe's kind of hit better. As crazy as that sounds.
He definitely bad. You were just listing off the numbers there for against lefties for Wisniewski. So
yeah, right. And that was prior to us getting anywhere else up, like before we knew anything else about the slate.
But to your point, I mean, we don't need to play Sean Murphy. I just was looking at the catcher position and felt like we were going to have salary to do it.
Sure.
But we could go Wallach. He's probably the guy that starts $3,400.
And that gives us a massive angel. I mean, that gives us a big angel stack.
Yeah, we don't have to play NATO either. We can go back, play Trout if you wanted to in the outfield.
Who is the shortstop we were playing? Was
Rodolfo.
It Rodolfo? Okay.
Yeah. We're $200 off Rodolfo, but we can move off Yaz. $3,500 outfielder. Rengifo, Pollock.
Pollock hits lefties. And I always say, what I'll say is if Pollock, he's just been
he hasn't hit anybody else.
Bad. Holy cow, he's been so bad.
Yep.
Sable is there, but like I don't feel great about using him in the outfield. That feels like kind of wasted.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Let's see. We definitely wanted Albies. We didn't really have a value third baseman, which kind of was unfortunate.
Yeah, there is nothing under Rendon that I would probably play.
So maybe, I mean, again, as we talked about, like maybe it is Drury spending down to Carpenter or
Carpenter.
Carpenter. Yeah,
or Dodgers Bush. Yeah.
If we went Carpenter, it gives us $4,500 for an outfielder. We went Bush, it would give us Soto.
What do you think?
Would you rather Carpenter or Soto?
Carpenter or Soto?
That's assuming we keep Trout. We don't need to keep Trout anymore if we're not doing a stack. We don't have Drury
anymore. Yeah. I mean, we could then do...
We have a $5,800. So we could do... Maybe
Soto,
we could do
Tatis.
Soto, Tatis, Carpenter.
Yeah.
The wind eventually has to blow out in Chicago, right?
The weather has to eventually turn too. Like it has to eventually be good weather there.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
All right. So that's our lineup then. We got Ohtani and Wright. We got Wallach, Carpenter, Albies, Suarez, Castro. We still have weighing in at $2,800, Soto and Tatis as our current lineup here for the afternoon slate. We'll have the playbook out by Henry Wilson for everybody there to enjoy. James and I will be back live breaking down the evening slate for this Thursday right ahead of the NFL draft. So good luck, everybody, and we will catch you guys later.
NFL Draft is now officially open.
Better Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm present the 2023 NFL Draft Bettercast, covering the fantasy football and sports betting angles of the NFL Draft.
Are you ready? Let's get it started.
Rookie scouting reports, NFL player comparisons, instant projections, draft props, and live betting. Live reports from Fantasy Alarm's Britt Flynn in Kansas City. Follow the NFL Draft and play our live Q&A contest for your chance to win fabulous prizes.
With the first pick,
this is the 2023 NFL Draft Bettercast on Fantasy Alarm and Better Sports Network.